Yes, okay, kia ora koutou. My name's Rob Clarke and I'm a former school principal and classroom teacher. My presentation is entitled Social Media for School Leaders, and before I start, just wanted to show a couple of quick visuals. This one to me really illustrates the need to always focus on the relationships. The next one I guess is about perspective. Doctor, please tell me, boy or girl. Sorry, I want to update my Facebook status. And the last one, we usually shop in the comfort of our own home, but the bloody computer crashed. Today, I want to look at four main things. First, what is social media? Then to spend a bit of time on considerations and some ideas for getting started, and at the end I've got some useful resources that I've come across. So Wikipedia define social media as an interaction amongst people, and really I guess the key aspect of that for me is that, well, how can we make the links between social media and learning explicit, and how does this apply to school leadership? Key considerations: what does it mean to learn in a future-oriented and connected and communication-rich society? Two very good resources that I suggest school leaders look at. The first one is a report by NZCER, and they talk about 6 themes that they've identified that are features of a future-oriented learning and teaching environment, as well as 2 sub-themes, one being the emergence of current and new technologies and the nature of collaboration. For school leaders, one of the key issues for me is obviously managing safety and managing the risks for students as well as staff. And I guess ethics and cyber citizenship are becoming more and more important the more ubiquitous social media and other tools become. But I guess too that there is a risk of not engaging with social media in a learning situation. And that last point there is related to the concept of the modern learning environment. Some thoughts around that are that it comprises of how we plan for the use of space, pedagogy and collaboration. And given that social media is effectively a social experience, how do we leverage that in this sort of a context? And so my point there is to really think about how do we plan for the use of social media when we're looking at our modern learning environment strategy. I think the most important thing to always do is to go back to the NZC and in fact to also go back to our school-based curriculum and to consider how the principles or the key competencies can be strengthened through the use of new media and social media, or whatever you want to call it, so that we can build community engagement, we can help leverage how children and staff actively reflect, and we can focus on things like citizenship in an online, a more increasingly online world. One of the ideas that I believe is really important when getting started is to always start with our purpose. And so the idea of why social media and looking at that within the context of our own school-based and NZC curriculum before we start looking at the how and the what. Because if we do that, then we're going to be guided by our values and we'll be focused on outcomes. And it's likely that our activities will be more discerning and more sustainable. So it's planning with the end in mind. Here's some short, quick ideas on how we could think about how we could use social media. The first one is as a professional tool. The second is to connect to our community. The third is to engage learners. And the fourth, and what I think possibly the ultimate goal, is to empower our learners. I've got some ideas under each of those that I'll be unpacking with examples to illustrate the what, with possibilities of tools for how I may have used it or I've seen other school leaders use social media in each of those categories, and I invite anybody to share their ideas as well. Two fantastic resources that I think every school should look at. The first one is from the New Zealand Teachers Council. It's a website called teachersandsocialmedia.co.nz. That's the one on the top right. The Teachers Council have done some superb work in unpacking the code of ethics in view of social media and how that might impact on learners, on staff and on the community. And the second resource, which I believe is fantastic, is the NetSafe Kit for Schools. They have a very well articulated program with very clear stages that schools can use as part of their professional learning journey as they, because they're going to need to address the issue of cyber citizenship the more they get into social media and online tools. I've got a link to a number of resources. Obviously the NZC is up there, as well as Derek Wenmoth's work on the drivers of change in the 21st century. There's also at the bottom my link to my Delicious account, which if you put plus leaders or leadership at the end of social media there, you will get a more refined subset. So to finish, I'll be unpacking some of the ideas about what, how we can move from the why, the how, into the what of social media on my brand new website, and I welcome any feedback on that. Thanks.